Welcome back to Virginia This Morning.
This Partners in Healthcare segment is sponsored by the Lynmoore Assisted Living and Memory Care. It's a tradition of caring, positioning residents as the cornerstone of the community that makes the Lynmoore such a resource for families. Randy Smith and Connie Pryor with the Lynmoore Assisted Living and Memory Care join us this morning. Thanks for coming in, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You have a nice facility out there that's been in the West End for a number of years and welcoming families.
Yes, the Lynmoore Assisted Living and Memory Care has been in the West End area at the corner of Gayton and Ridgeville Parkway for over 20 years. So it's one of those Richmond gems that have been there for a long time.
And when families are starting to explore assisted living as an option, it's really important to explore maybe something that's close to the familiar home area, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. Most families want to put mom or dad or their loved one close to them. So if they're living in a specific area, they want to make it as convenient and as easy for the transition for them, not only for them, but for their loved one also, to put them somewhere close.
We've been a neighbor for a long time, and we really like folks to visit their family as often as possible, and that accessibility is important.
Let's talk a little bit about the personality of the Lynmoore.
We call the Lynmoore the West End's little gem. Since it's been there so long, one of the original assisted livings in the far West End, we give quality care at a reasonable rate, and I think that's important. That makes it something that people can honestly do on a moment's notice, or if they're giving it a long and hard thought, seeing where we're located and what we have to offer makes that opportunity that much easier for them.
And you also, the Lynmoore presents the opportunity for families to get familiar with the space before they may make that decision with the community outreach that you do.
Absolutely. We have a lot of local education opportunities. We have visitors come from the outside. Just yesterday we had a national lecturer, and we invite the neighbors, we invite our residents, we invite their family members. We really we are part of the neighborhood, and we want to give back to the neighborhood a little bit.
And one of the things we were talking about earlier this morning is the ability for families to depend on the Lynmoore as a resource. Once a family member may move in, you want them to be able to stay, and sometimes the financial concerns can become very concerning.
Oftentimes that is the primary concern, is if I put mom in a community, people are living a lot longer now. So mom may not have the deepest pockets in the world, but they know mom wants to stay at the Lynmoore. We want to make sure that once you stay and move into the Lynmoore, it's always home for you. So we make sure that you know that there are many options as you start to spend down your monies. We're one of the few communities in the area that will allow for an auxiliary grant to kick into place. So that will allow that additional assistance financially to keep mom into the community. So that'll always be home for them, and that financial burden won't be a big burden for them.
Any move is stressful, and so we do our best to provide multiple avenues for them to assist with the financial impact of moving to assisted living.
I was not familiar with the auxiliary grant, and you've explained it so well, Connie. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. Most assisted livings are strictly private pay. But at the Lynmoore, what the auxiliary grant does, it is a form of the Medicaid application process. But they have set aside monies for persons who are living in an assisted living setting to be able to tap those funds available. So we will accept, once you've decided that you've spent down your monies, you won't have to leave. That way we can accept, once you've been approved for the auxiliary grant, we'll accept those funds that the auxiliary grant has in place as proper payment for your room and board at the community.
And as we were saying earlier, that just makes all the difference in the world to be able to stay in the community you've moved into.
Absolutely. We want them to be there as long as they want to be with us.
And the fantastic thing, different levels of care too, especially with the memory unit.
Right. We have a secured memory unit at the Lynmoore. So depending on what level of care you need, how many services that we're going to be providing for you, we still give quality care at a reasonable rate. So we want to make sure that people know that with the fundings that we have available and the opportunities for them to get assistance with the fundings, the Lynmoore can always be where you want to land.
We've talked with quite a few assisted living groups with the Partners in Healthcare, and one of the things that I generally ask is, how do you know it's time? How do you know if you may think it's time for mom and dad? How do you start having that conversation?
Well, frequently it's often event-based. Perhaps somebody has had a minor fall, or you notice that your loved one may be losing a little bit of weight, perhaps isn't eating properly, has some difficulty getting out to the doctor and back, or managing your medicines is often a very stressful event. So often family members realize that it's time for a little bit of assistance. They're worried about their parent, and they want to make sure that somebody's there 24 hours a day watching over them, making sure that they eat enough, that they get the proper medicines, and they can help them with the minor needs that they have for daily living. And we're there for that. We're their family on call 24 hours a day if they need us.
And having that family on call close to where you live is nice to be able to go in and visit as well.
Absolutely. They can be there 24 hours a day and visit their loved one anytime, but we have staff and nurses there 24 hours a day for assistance if it's needed.
Well, fantastic. We'll let people know how to get in touch with you guys. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you,
Jennifer.
The Lynmoore Assisted Living, and for more information about this community, one of your partners in healthcare, you can visit the campus at 12411 Gayton Road in Henrico, the West End, or visit online lynmoore.com. And you can always give the Lynmoore a call, 741-9494.